What's up, YouTube friends? It's Caroline here, and I hope this finds you making it a great day. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to this live broadcast, or if you're watching the rebroadcast, welcome back. As many of you know, I film a lot of videos to help you keep your mind and body in great shape while you heal from a foot injury. And let's get real, no foot injury is a good injury. But the sesamoid injury is one of the worst injuries of all. And many of you are familiar that I've been healing from a sesamoid injury. And it's been a long and tricky process because it sucks. But I've been healing successfully thanks to this man that I've brought to film with me today. And I want to introduce you to physical therapist and CrossFit coach extraordinaire, Sean McBride. And today, Sean is here to talk to us about how to heal from a sesamoid injury and still exercise and stay in great shape while you come back from the often frustrating process of healing the annoying and sometimes temperamental sesamoid. So Sean, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So let's talk a little bit about the sesamoid injury. So Sean, why don't you explain kind of what the sesamoid injury is and how people get it?
All right, so first, just a quick anatomy review. If you could imagine this is the bottom of the foot, this would be kind of your big toe. The sesamoids are a pair of bones under the ball of your foot. They're part of the weight-bearing structure of the foot, and they help to increase the leverage of some of the tendons to help you push off. They help to store energy as we are walking or running. So they have two big jobs. They are energy storers, and they are helping you to absorb contact with the ground and protecting the structures beneath that as well. So the injuries happen basically when either the mechanism is overstretched, as in like a hyper extension injury. Sometimes this could also be like a turf toe. There's a capsule that can get torn there as well. But a lot of times with a sesamoiditis specifically, it's an impact thing. Their ability to absorb that force is exceeded or overloaded, and essentially those bones can get sensitive to pressure and to stretching.
So it sounds like you can get the sesamoid injury from overstretching the tendons and overuse or too much impact on the sesamoid bones. Right. And that can happen in a lot of different ways, right?
It can, yeah. Most commonly it comes from running and jumping. A lot of times it can come if you are, it's one of the things that can happen with a barefoot style as well. That can be an injury that comes from that style. That's...
So too much running or too much jumping or too much barefoot stuff.
Basically.
Yeah, that was all of me. I did all of those things and then more. Oh, and I also wore high heels.
That's the other one, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
High heels.
Sucks.
Because basically you're bearing the entire weight of your body right on top of the ball of your foot. And if you add a lot of impact to that, that can start to get those bones a little upset.
And they're really sensitive, right? They're really temperamental.
Well, I would actually argue the opposite. In general, they're incredibly robust structures, and in the vast majority of people, they can handle that impact. For those people who basically flip that switch the other direction, once they become sensitive, they stay really, really sensitive.
So if you become sensitive, you're probably always going to have sensitivity in those bones.
Right. It's somewhat similar to other types of injuries we see in the body that you can absolutely heal from that, but you'll always probably have a little lower threshold than you would were you uninjured.
Wait, so guys, that's really good news. You can heal from it, but he's saying you're probably always going to have just a little bit of,
right.
It's going to be touchy, but you can heal.
Absolutely.
That's cool, because I've heard that most people don't heal properly from sesamoids.
Well, I think the issue with the sesamoid injury comes from management. We're really not healing anything. Your body is doing the healing, and you have to allow your body time, space, and the freedom to heal. You have to basically create the environment around that foot to optimize healing. And there's lots of different ways of doing this. One of them is splinting or doing some sort of braces. Depending on whether or not there is a broken bone or not, you might even be immobilized for a period of time. That's sort of more the medical management side of things. If it's extremely painful, even just to stand on, maybe some sort of injection is sometimes done. But the majority of management is resting and avoiding painful activities.
Yeah, so no running. Sorry, not while you heal.
Not while you heal.
Let's talk about that, because I think that's a question I get a lot. What does the timeline look like? Like, how long does it take to heal from a sesamoid? And what does that process look like to do it successfully?
Long and slow.
Long and slow. So yeah, get comfortable. It's gonna be a long time.
Right, and I think, the idea here is we want you doing as much as possible during the healing phase, up to the point that you start to feel symptoms. And in some ways, your foot is the limiting factor, but it's also the thing that gives you the feedback about what your limitations are. So, you were able to do anything that doesn't hurt. Anything that does hurt is basically above that threshold. And we want to sort of think of it, if there's, kind of a line, it's a moving target. As you're healing, you should be increasing, and that threshold should be getting farther and farther away. Eventually, we want all the activities that we do to be below that threshold. But while we're healing, that threshold may be low, and we just have to sort of live in that space below.
And this is what I've actually been doing with Sean, is building strength and maintaining my fitness while I've been healing. So the threshold gradually has becoming more, I can handle more and more intensity on not just my foot, but my entire body throughout that process of healing, which is cool. And that's kind of the goal, right? Is to slowly maintain my fitness, but start to challenge my body in a healthy way and progress.
Right. And, for me as a therapist, we're looking at a couple of different levels. We want to look at the tissue level. So we look specifically at what's going on with the sesamoid. For some individuals, there'll be some flexibility issues that we need to restore, especially if you do go through a period of immobilization. You got to get that back, because if you're missing range of motion as that toe is extending, then you'll be pissing that tendon off, and then through the tendon, the sesamoid as well, a lot. So getting the flexibility back is kind of a first prerequisite before going back to activities after you unload. But a little more holistically, while we are staying off of things that place a lot of stretch, like burpees, like lunges and running, jumping, I use this as an opportunity to basically strengthen the whole body. There's a ton of things that you can do that are a little bit more holistic. And one way of looking at this injury is as a load accommodation problem, right? If your legs are not the springs that are absorbing energy and distributing it throughout the whole leg, then that force can become isolated right at the point of impact under the ball of the foot. So one of the things that we can do and be very productive with our fitness during the 6 weeks to 6 months, depending on the length of time it takes to heal from that injury, you're in a strength building phase.
And that's actually something that I want to share with all of you, because I think many of you may have gotten a sesamoid injury from running, jumping, or doing home workouts, or a lot of barefoot stuff. And that is very valuable and wonderful, but it won't give you the same well-rounded, balanced body that sometimes strength training can. And I think sometimes the sesamoid injury can be an opportunity to kind of build your foundation of strength so that you can return to those activities with a completely different body, more mindful movement, and a stronger butt, hips, everything. So what Sean is saying is that while you're offloading and healing from the sesamoid, you can actually do a lot with your fitness that's not only going to help you heal, but will help you in your activities long term. And that's really cool.
And I think it should also be pointed out that, while I think strength as a foundation is incredibly important for success as you start to come back, it doesn't mean that you have to totally avoid, working out where you're working out to just breathe hard and do a lot of work, we use things like cycles, we use things like the rowing machine, the erg, and eventually as we start to give you things back, we will start to do things like burpees, like push-ups, and start with slow loads. So sort of taking it to the next step, how do you sequence this? Initially you avoid impact, and that's kind of the last thing to come back. You're also going to avoid a lot of stretching. So we're basically doing things where your foot is stable and in contact with the ground. We're talking things like deadlifts, squats, kettlebell swings, any upper body work you want to do. Lots of hanging. This is a great time to get your strict pull-up. If you don't have that, this is a great time to start to work on that pull-up, because you'll have the time to do the hanging into your assisted pull-ups and eventually your unassisted pull-ups. So there's lots of directions you can go where you're really not having either a stretching load or an impact on that. It can feel a little limiting, but over time you get to start to do things like step-ups. You get a little bit of loads. You get to do like some push-ups where you're allowing kind of a slower stretch, but not kind of a higher speed stretch. Later on, we add things like burpees back in. And then as we get a little more comfortable, then we add things like lunges where you're still going slow, but now you're starting to place some higher forces through. And then we add some jumping, and eventually we get back to some running progressions.
So what he's saying, and this is what I've actually been doing with Sean, the process looks like first offload, second start to continue to exercise in a way that keeps your foot flat without any bending or any stretch. So squats, deadlifts, kettlebell swings, and he's the kettlebell master, so I've gotten my butt kicked with the kettlebell.
To be clear, not actually a kettlebell master, not RKC, but I enjoy the odd kettlebell.
He enjoys the kettlebell, yes, and it's murderous what you can do without bending your foot at all. So that's stage one. And then stage two would be slowly introducing that soft bend of the toe, some push-ups, some step-ups, more advanced movement. And stage three is kind of what I've been working on with him now, burpees, a little bit of jumping, returning to movement. And I've been fit and active the whole time. So that's what's so cool, is that I've been able to exercise throughout my entire healing process without pissing off my sesamoid and making healing happen.
Right. And I think the thing to emphasize there is you can push yourself really hard. You can go to max reps on squats. You can go to failure or extreme fatigue on a bike or rowing. You can push yourself as hard as you want and not be pushing staying below that threshold of your foot. And you have a nice indicator when your foot starts to become even sore just a little bit. That's basically your point to stop and take the long view on that. You want to get as much as you can in, and then if you do need to slow things down for a little bit, that's okay. You got lots of time to do your workouts, but then progress them over time.
And that's what I've been learning too throughout this process, is that my foot kind of guides me in, okay, 1 week I need to go a little lighter and do more swimming and more squats and more things that aren't going to piss it off. And some weeks I can push it and still feel fine. And it's been great to have Sean to help me start to understand where my threshold is and slowly progress that over time. And still exercise and challenge my body in a way that's healthy and helps me long term.
Absolutely.
Which is cool. So I want to encourage you to really seek more information on the sesamoid, and I'll include all of the links below for where to find Sean, San Francisco CrossFit, more information on the sesamoid, so that you can continue to educate yourself and be empowered by knowledge that's going to help you heal. And I just want you to know, and Sean can affirm this too, that healing is possible, and that it's going to help you both as an athlete and a person to come back from this injury and to move mindfully and to develop skill and understanding of your body and to take care of it. So please look at this injury as an opportunity to grow yourself and to become a stronger person inside and out, and that it is possible to heal a sesamoid and that you're supported in doing that. I can't thank you enough, Sean, for joining us today and for lending your expertise and your skill and your insight to all these people. And please, you guys, leave us a comment below if this video served you. And thank you so much for tuning into the YouTube channel. And I'll see you again soon at CarolineJordanFitness.com. Thanks, Sean, and bye, you guys.